Yesterday, Goldman Sachs called this a generational buying opportunity in U.S. tech stocks. Tom Lee is backing it up. He says historically the market bottoms in the first 10% of any war and that risk reward is now very good. Very much in line with what we've seen so far. But here's the pushback. The Qs are only down 8% from all-time highs. S&P just posted its worst quarter since Q3 of 2022. Crude oil sitting around $115 a barrel, and UBS just slashed its S&P year-end target, though they're still calling for a big upside move, about 13% to the upside from here. Trump has an 8 p.m. deadline tonight, April 7th, for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or we will likely see escalated tensions overseas. So, is this a generational buying opportunity, or is the real pain still ahead? Let's dive in. I've got a few points I want to make on today's options math check. Let's do it right now. So we're looking at the tastytrade platform here, and there's a few things to emphasize. First and foremost, anytime there's some kind of escalation or some kind of deadline, or we'll call it a binary event on the tastylive network a lot, I want to see what the implied volatility is for that day. So regardless of whether it's a Fed announcement, a CPI report in the morning, whether it's something like this, whether it's an earnings report, there's always going to be an implied volatility associated with that event. And we can clearly see that in the SPX markets. So SPX is your cash settled index. It is an options trading vehicle. It is immensely liquid. And I use it all the time just to get a gauge of what to expect for something like this. So markets are going to be closed tonight. At least the equity markets will be closed tonight. Futures will be open. I'm sure they'll be flying around. But the first thing I'm looking at, and the one thing I'm looking at here, is the one-day implied volatility in SPX. We're seeing a 34.8%, pretty elevated relative to the other expiration cycles that are sitting around 27% for next week. And we've got almost a 100-point implied move for tomorrow. There's no other announcements being made. There's no numbers. There's no CPI, PPI, nothing like that, at least tomorrow. But 100-point move for tomorrow really tells us that we should expect to see some kind of volatility from this event tonight, and really the events after this deadline of 8 p.m. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but the market is telling us we should not expect to see the market like this tomorrow. We shouldn't expect to really see just an 18-point move. E-minis have actually rallied from the lows today. Another thing I want to focus on outside of SPX is really the vol curve. So I like to set up the vol futures curve and just keep an eye on Contango and backwardation. Contango is when the near-term contracts are trading for a lower value than the further dated cycles. It's your typical setup. Any of the equity options where you're looking at a 30-day cycle, certain strike, you're looking at the 60-day, the 90-day, those options have a Contango aspect to them where the near-term option is going to be less expensive than the next further dated cycle because there's more time associated with it, etc. Contango is a normal futures curve where the near-term contracts are less expensive than the further dated contracts. Right now, we are seeing a backwardation in the vol futures. When we see backwardation in the vol futures, it's typically short-lived, but given this conflict with Iran, we've had backwardation for the last month and a half, almost 2 months. So it will sustain, it can sustain. The longest one I've seen was for COVID when the markets tanked and then they recovered short after. But yeah, I think backwardation in the vol futures tells us that we're not out of the woods yet. It is a living, breathing thing though. Backwardation comes into play when the markets start selling off and volatility starts ripping higher. But backwardation is kind of the unlock or enablement of the market continuing to move to the downside like we've seen. The markets are down pretty big to start 2026, and backwardation kind of confirms that that is continuing to be possible. We're seeing a flattening out of volatility in the back months though. So we're looking at 2380 in the M contract, 2390 in the N contract, and 2380 in the Q. So kind of fluttering between contango and backwardation in those back months, which tells me that the market's pricing in more calm situations over the next couple of months. Crude oil, though, has a massive backwardation when you look at the near-term cycle versus the later dated cycles. So if we look at crude oil and we just isolate the regular contract monthly expirations only, we're looking at the K, the M, the N, the Q, massive backwardation here. We've got 114 in the 9-day. Interestingly enough, the 37-day just a few hours ago was trading below 100. Now it's trading at 114. It was at like 98 or 97 just a few hours ago. So that's kind of interesting. The fact that the 37-day, 1 month out from now, or just over a month, is actually picking up a bid is interesting in the sense that it's kind of telling us that we might expect more conflict over the next month, which I don't think is going to be great for the equity markets, but we've seen the equity markets catch a bid in situations where you wouldn't normally expect that to happen. Last week, perfect example, crude oil was up 11, 12%. It got up to where we are now, around 114, and the markets, the E-minis and NASDAQ, they were down about 1.5%, 2%, and then they ended flat at the end of the day. So I think the equity markets want this to kind of be over. I think they're telling us that we might be dealing with de-escalation soon. If that happens, maybe we see a bid in the E-minis and NASDAQ. I think what's really interesting about all of this is that regardless of who you listen to, regardless of whatever analyst you're paying attention to, almost all of them still have the S&P 500 ending the year at like 74, 75, 7,600. So still a long way to go from here, sitting at 6,600 in the E-minis and NASDAQ. But if we are to assume that the E-minis and NASDAQ are kind of giving us the protocol for the future, and they're having a hard time continuing to sell off here, and we hit the bottom, we haven't gone below the recent low that we hit a couple weeks ago, maybe the markets are telling us that yes, we will see some more chop, we'll see some more downside movement, upside movement, but the fact that our backwardation is kind of fizzling out in the E-mini and in the NASDAQ market, or I should say the equity market, crude oil backwardation still sky high, which you might expect, but even in crude oil, when you look at July, August, September, and you get into the later half of this year, the prices for these contracts drop from the high 90s, mid 80s, all the way down to the mid 70s, and they kind of flatline at the bottom here between 72 and 74 as you get to the end of this year and into early next year. So the conflict is here. The conflict isn't really going anywhere. I think what will be interesting is after this deadline tonight that Trump has set, whatever happens, the markets are going to move in a certain way. I think if we see conflict de-escalation, you could see this near-term contract in crude crush. If we see that and we get this backwardation to be less severe, we're looking at 114 in the 9-day, 99, 100 in the 37-day. If we see that less severe, I think that could be a bid to the equity markets. Because the equity markets for the last couple of weeks have been really a strong negative correlation to the crude oil markets. So we've seen crude oil rip higher. We've seen the equity markets falter and sell off pretty big. So I think all this considered, today's a pretty big day. It's April 7th. We've got this situation that's being priced into the SPX market for tomorrow. And again, whatever happens, we're likely going to see a pretty big move in the equity markets and oil markets. So if you're trading this directionally, I would make sure your risk is in check. Make sure that whatever you think is going to happen, maybe account for twice or three times that movement, because especially from a risk side, because you never know what's going to happen, and things could escalate very quickly. They could also de-escalate very quickly. It is a living, breathing thing that we're working with here, and markets have never moved faster since I've been trading them. So lots to consider, lots to talk about, but at the end of the day, I think E-minis and NASDAQ, if you're trying to buy the bottom here and you're playing for a reversal at the end of the year, you do get a lot of exposure to your tech stocks, your AI stocks, what have you, but there are a bunch of stocks that are at lows, just forgotten stocks, like Microsoft. Microsoft is sitting at 370. I've talked about that before. I have a bunch of positions on in Microsoft. Apple, down really big today, down 7 points. It was actually down more earlier this morning, down 3%. So there's plenty of opportunities in those single name stocks, those Mag 7 stocks, but if you're trying to get a basket of exposure, the NASDAQ, the E-minis, especially if you're playing for a long-term move. We're already down, 10, 15% in a lot of these stocks, and we do have some more movement to the upside if you believe we'll turn this into a bullish sentiment by the end of the year. But just be careful out there. And really, if you want it to be the most conservative thing you can do, I think, is just wait to see what happens tonight, see how it plays out tomorrow, because I feel like the market is telling us 100-point move in the S&Ps for tomorrow. And it's all related to this binary event that has been set by Trump, 8 p.m. deadline. We'll see what happens, but market's going to be moving. Probabilities are going to be flying around. But key things for me, if we do see a market rally tomorrow, I want to see what that vol future curve looks like. I want to see what the contango or backwardation comes into play. Of course, if we see the market sell off aggressively, you're going to see the backwardation increase here. And you'll likely see the back month vol get backwardated as well. And I assume that if that's happening, crude oil futures are ripping higher, and we see that backwardation increase there too. So one of these things, it feels like it's got to break. It's either the crude oil markets have to crush in terms of the near-term contract, sitting at 114, it's got to come down if we're expecting to see the market rally, or vice versa. Maybe you see crude oil just rip to the moon and the markets tank. That's also a possibility here. But everything will be unfolded by tomorrow or maybe later this week. But this is a pretty big situation. And again, if you're conservative, maybe you wait, sit on your hands, see if there's anything that comes to light tomorrow. But yeah, lots to consider. The vol curve in the futures market, the curve in the crude oil market, two things I'm keeping an eye on. And really, another way to play it is trading near-term options in SPX. I'm actually working an iron condor in there, just a small 100-point wide on either side, so covering a 200-point range iron condor, playing for kind of an inside move for tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Keep your risk in check, though. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to the tastylive channel. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll see you on the next Options Math Check.